I'm not on the side of creating ugly things. I do see there's a tremendous amount of worthless, ugly shit in society and things put up just for the sake of it. I love beautiful things, probably because I was surrounded by so much bloody ugliness when I was a kid. My name's Joe Machine. I'm an artist and former criminal. I ended up getting involved in crime, theft, sort of petty theft, and knocking over businesses in a local area. A lot of my friends' parents are drug addicts, drug dealers, and that was my life, so I painted it. My paintings are coded in the sense that the ones on black backgrounds are drawn from my experiences, and nothing goes into those paintings that I haven't experienced. I felt like I really had to work through the paintings on the black backgrounds in order to get to the place I am now. It's something that's taken me many years of self-introspection, looking at whatever frightened me in my life with a view of trying to get past it so it wouldn't hold me back. My father had a business on the Kent coast for many years, which was between a couple of very dangerous pubs. My earliest memories are of fear and of violence. When I was a child, I saw men glassed and bottled in the face, a lot of stabbings. The earliest one I can remember was when I was 5 years old, so it had a terrific effect on me. My way of dealing with this when I was at school was to make drawings from my experiences. These drawings got me in trouble a lot at school because where a lot of other kids were drawing teddy bears and cars and God knows what, I was basically stopped from drawing because it was upsetting the other children, as you can understand it would do when you're drawing, you know, adults with their faces hacked open, popped eyeballs, that sort of stuff, some very unpleasant things. I was sent to the back of the class. There's no attempt to help me or anything like that. Unfortunately, I was humiliated and I ended up stabbing my teacher and I was transferred out of that school. I went to special school as young offenders institution. They're very bleak places, but you do have some resources there. I used my environment around me in a positive way and created images and paintings which freed me, really freed my mind. Whenever I've been locked up, whenever I've been behind bars, I always had my mind, I always had my memory and my thoughts about the outside world. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be punished for their actions, but get them involved in creativity. I think you're going to have probably more people like me, not that I'm special in any way, but you're going to have more people that are going to be able to get out of their environment as I was able to with mine. Art really gave me an outlet. I saw so many people get hurt over such stupid things. It slashed and cut, young men blinded, all sorts of stuff. And I was able to paint it and find a way of working with that. Whereas I think some people would let that destroy them and destroy their lives. I've used it in a positive way to confront my own problems in my own life. In 1999, after going through special school and young offenders institution, I was very, very lucky and I got invited to join the Stuckist art movement. And I'm very pleased to have been involved in it because my life could have gone, I could have been in prison right now, I could be dead. I was asked by Charles Thompson at the time, as a very good friend of mine, to join, and it really gave me a platform for my work, which I don't think I would have had otherwise. Stuckism is the first remodernist art movement which was really set up to combat the whole Brit art movement that was going on in the country with Tracy Emin and a lot of the other Britpop artists. It's an art movement which really does promote the use of the self in art and really bringing the self forward and painting what comes from within. They're people that if they weren't painting they wouldn't be doing anything else. I've been able to accomplish so much without going down the negative route that my peers did. Some of them are dead, some of them are still in prison, some of them are on drugs. I'm out and I'm painting and doing the things that I love. I have a family and I'm married and I never expected that that would ever happen for me. I'm working on a series of paintings now, Gangs of London. It was about my experiences with gangs in the London area when I was a bouncer in the 1990s rave scene. I started door work not long after I came out of Young Offenders Institution. That was one of the most stupid things I've ever done in my entire life because it put me in a position of violence, having to defend myself and having to take weapons off of people and all that sort of thing. It was all about the gangs and I often use my sons as models for them because they're very photogenic, far more so than I am. You've got mods, you've got rockers, skinheads. There's even fictional gangs in there as well. The Droogs from Clockwork Orange, got Ingsoc from 1984, which I think constitute a gang. You've got the Krays. My dad was involved with the Krays during the 1960s. I grew up in a very, very masculine world. My grandfather was a professional boxer, but he was a painter, he was a creative. He was very poor. My nan was poor as church mice, and he still used to find money to buy the occasional canvas and do some painting. And although he never spoke about it, I can always remember him painting when I was a kid. The first time I was ever really moved by an art form was at primary school. They always used to march us down to church every week. Stained glass windows was my first real, apart from my grandfather, the experience of artwork. And when they were blathering away with their prayers, I wasn't really listening like a lot of the other kids. I was just looking at the windows and looking at the colours, how the light that were coming through the windows reflected the colour. It was incredible. It really is something that I've tried to do with my work. I've tried to reconstruct those moments of looking at those windows. That's sort of like a lot of the religious paintings. Paintings drawn from Genesis, those Old Testament characters. They're very jewel-like in their colours, so that's exactly what I've done. That kind of light refraction, you can't capture it in paint. My creative process is basically that I sit for a few minutes every morning, 10-15 minutes in silent prayer and meditation. This is something that's been going on for 10-15 years or so now. It's enabled me to move into other areas of religion and painting nature, whereas I did not feel comfortable doing that as a kid. I wouldn't say I'm a very religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. I found a relationship with God over the years, but it was no sort of red pill moment. It took me years to establish this relationship, and it's something that continues to this day. I talk to God and we have a conversation, and my work is a dialogue. God tells me what he wants me to do and I get on with it. Can't argue with the boss. I think nature and God's creation is the best work of art ever. I think that certainly with the nature paintings, I make sure that there are no people around because I wouldn't want anyone spoiling it. I just want to sit there on my own and paint and look at an environment which I never had when I was a child. I grew up amongst concrete. I didn't know what a tree was. The best works of art anywhere are nature. Flowers, nature, trees, places where people can come and be in peace and bring their families and walk, take their dogs, whatever it is. What I've really tried to do over the years is show people that no matter where you are in the world, no matter whatever anyone else has decided your narrative is, you can change it. It can be changed. It does not have to be the way that someone else says it is for you. Because so many people are held back by their financial situation and by what happens in their life in general. And I think art can change that for you. It can change the dynamic, it can change the dialogue for you, get you out of a situation that is holding you back. I think that art has a tremendous transformative value to people's lives and can lift people, even those people who are not anything to do with art or don't feel they can even pick up a paintbrush or anything like that. It's irrelevant really. If I can get something out of looking at a painting or a piece of architecture or a film or pick up a book and it lifts them out of their environment, it lifts them out of where they are, then I think that's the best victory that you can possibly have as an artist. I've worked over the years with quite a lot of young offenders and also the homeless as well, just basically showing mostly young men ways they can move forward with their lives. The fact that there's no certainty in life, but every possibility. Sometimes it takes you to make the first move or meet the universe, meet God halfway, whatever it is, but anything is possible if you are willing to do it.